So, it's been some kind of morning. It's been some kind of yesterday. This R. Kelly story just will not go away. Gayle King got an exclusive interview with R. Kelly that jumped off.
Right.
R. Kelly is in jail right now. These young ladies who have been living with R. Kelly spoke up, and we have the attorney on the line, Gerald Griggs. Good morning, Gerald.
Good morning, Sasha. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's nice to hear your voice again.
It's nice to hear your voice. And good morning, Rick. How you doing?
Good. How are you, sir? So you represent
I'm
the
doing
parents of Joycelyn Savage, correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So we are watching this interview as it was airing this morning on these two young ladies, and you have heard what they have had to say, especially
Yes, I have.
especially the Savage family. How's the family doing right now? That's the mom and dad.
The family's they're doing okay. It was good to hear Joycelyn's voice for the first time yesterday, and after watching the interview today, we're even more concerned about the level of control that R. Kelly has over Joycelyn Savage. So watching the interview today, I made a comment on social media. It's laughable at best. It's sad at worst because clearly R. Kelly and his camp should never have done that interview in any form or fashion. The facts are just so skewed and so wrong, but we will correct every single issue, and we will get Joycelyn Savage the help that she so desperately needs.
So I was really disturbed yesterday. I have to be honest with you. When I saw the phone call that happened yesterday that was videotaped of the Savage parents talking and the children talking to Joycelyn, did she call or did you guys call her?
A member of R. Kelly's camp called us right after the press conference and said that he would set up a phone call with Joycelyn because he's new to the camp. He's been there for about three weeks, and he didn't know that she hadn't contacted her parents. So about 30 minutes later, he called, and then she called, and then you saw what happened in the call.
Why did you guys videotape that and put that out there like that? I thought that was very personal with the young girl talking to her sister, evidently, for the first time. This has been such a sensitive topic. Why did you expose that like that?
Because we know R. Kelly has been recording conversations for a long time, and his camp actually recorded it and leaked it to E! News, so we knew that there was something interesting about to happen. We also saw what happens when Joycelyn Savage is interacted with young people who know her better than anybody. And so we saw the real Joycelyn Savage go off script because she was clearly reading a script from the beginning, and she couldn't get back to the script because she knew that if nothing was wrong, why not have a conversation with your little sisters?
Right.
Why not have a conversation with your grandmother? Why not reach out, and reignite a familial relationship? So that's the reason why we recorded, so the world could see the depths of this brainwashing that's occurring in real time.
Right, so we're talking to Attorney Gerald Griggs, who represents the parents of Joycelyn Savage. So you saw her on the video with the young lady. When you watch her and what you know of her, what does her body language say to you?
Her body language says she's brainwashed. The body language says that she is in an abusive relationship that she can't get out of. The fact that Gayle King had to tell a national audience that R. Kelly was still in the room, coughing, trying to signal, attempting to end the interview, shows that these women are not doing these things of their free will. I've talked to Joycelyn's family, her friends, individuals that have known her for a long period of time. This is not the Joycelyn that people knew prior to meeting R. Kelly. And we think that once we get in-person physical contact with Joycelyn, she will come out of this spell just like Dominique Gardner did, just like Ashanti McGee did, and so many others that have been in this situation.
Gerald, has the family ever received any money from R. Kelly for anything?
Absolutely not. And yesterday in the press conference, I produced receipts And I challenge Mr. Kelly to produce receipts. We'll print out bank statements. We'll submit I-9s. We will do whatever it takes to show that at no point has R. Kelly paid this family any amount of money. Now, it's interesting that he brings that up, considering he settled 6 cases of underage sexual abuse with non-disclosure agreements and monies paid to individuals. And I believe now with that interview, he's broken those non-disclosure agreements. And now those individuals could come forward and outline how Mr. Kelly is the one that has been paying people to keep quiet about his activities with underage girls.
Speaking of keeping quiet, Attorney Gerald Griggs, I mean, you would think that R. Kelly's attorney would be there and just tell him to shut up. What happened there?
I would think that Mr. Greenberg would be there and would have counseled his client not to do this interview, and even if you do this interview, not to go off on rants, start hitting your hands, yelling at Gayle King, showing the type of behavior that we are afraid these young women are subject to. Because imagine if he does this in front of a live national audience, what he does behind closed doors. So We're definitely concerned for the health, safety, and well-being of these young ladies. We honestly believe that both of them are brainwashed, because there are videos on social media that show both of them singing, show both of them wanting to be aspiring singers, but now, since they've been with Mr. Kelly, they don't want to do any of that anymore. They just want to live with him, and he's going to take care of them, and they don't want any contact with their parents. And then to come up with these ludicrous allegations that they were sold for sex when there's absolutely no proof of that. That never happened. That their parents were trying to blackmail Mr. Kelly. There's no proof of that. None of that happened. And if they continue down this road, we will produce more receipts that show that this is a concentrated effort by Robert Sylvester Kelly and his team to put a false narrative out there that is wholly without proof in fact and evidence.
Hey, Attorney Gerald Griggs, who represents the parents of Joycelyn Savage, how old is she now?
23.
She's 23. And what can you really do at 23? She is grown, and she's saying that she doesn't want to come home. She doesn't want to be bothered. What can you do legally?
We can lock Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly up for the false imprisonment, the kidnapping, and the aggravated assault that occurred at the Johns Creek house in 2017. We have 3 witnesses, and we have actual physical proof that these women were restrained. They were forced to use the bathroom in buckets. They were subject to discipline and beatings. And this comes from his camp, members of his camp. This comes from Shanti McGee, who's told this in the documentary, and it comes from 2 other witnesses that were present, as well as the neighbors in Johns Creek that reported this to law enforcement. So there are 3 ongoing investigations. 1 has already resulted in charges, 10 charges, 4 different victims. And there are 2 others that we plan to and have already spoken to law enforcement about. So the argument that they're grown women, there's no age of consent on a kidnapping charge. There's no age of consent on an aggravated assault charge. There's no age of consent in a false imprisonment charge. And we believe there's sufficient evidence here in Fulton County to prove what actually happened in that Johns Creek house.
Okay, this is Attorney Gerald Griggs. He represents the parents of Joycelyn Savage, who's with R. Kelly. How long has she been with R. Kelly, Attorney?
She's been with him 2 years.
2 years.
How old was she?
And how old was she then?
She was 19. She was about to turn 20 when she first met Mr. Kelly.
Okay.
And that's another falsehood that we have to dispel. At no point has Tim Savage ever met R. Kelly. At no point did he go to any concert and put Joycelyn Savage on stage. Mr. Kelly's road manager actually met the Savages at their boutique, saw Joycelyn, heard her sing, thought she was a great talent, wanted to introduce her to Sony. They set up a flight to Palm Springs to meet with Sony. It ended up at R. Kelly's concert. Mr. Savage never went. Jocelyn Savage was there. They met with Mr. Kelly after his concert and was discussing business about signing with Sony, with Mr. Kelly being executive producer. At no point did anybody put her on stage, sell her for any type of sexual relations to Mr. Kelly. We have the plane tickets and the emails as proof.
Man, here's what I have a problem with. I'm a father of 3 daughters. I don't understand why, when they say the legal age is 18, why this man cannot see that this is another man's daughter. someone's baby girl. Give this little girl a chance to live and grow up. I mean, taking the innocence away. I mean, that just...
Well, I want to talk about the parents. So I just heard you say about Sony and, possibly signing a deal. She goes out to see him. So did the parents go with her to meet R. Kelly? When did this all happen that she ends up staying and the parents leaving her?
Well, she was at college. What happened was they flew out to Palm Springs. They met all of his team.
Mm-hmm.
They talked about the mentorship and signing with Sony. They flew back to Atlanta. During that trip, somebody from Mr. Kelly's camp gave Joycelyn Savage R. Kelly's telephone number.
Okay.
The parents took Joycelyn back to Gwinnett College, where she was enrolled as a student. She was supposed to be going to classes. At some point, he got in contact with her and removed her from Gwinnett College, and they haven't seen her since. So
Wait a minute. Go back. You said he removed her from the college.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
She unenrolled, left her college dorm, and has not been seen since.
It's so many lies. I don't know. It's so hard to know who is telling the truth, because the daughter is saying it's all lies. Her parents are making this up. It's all for money. This is coming out of her mouth. Then R. Kelly is, saying something. I'm just saying we're on the outside. This is all going to play out, and we're going to finally get to the truth.
It will play out in court.
Yeah.
And here's what you need to know. Mr. Kelly is charged with 10 counts of child sexual abuse. He has 2 other investigations going on right now. So whatever he says on national television will be used against him. They have DNA in 2 of those cases. So when you say it's hard to tell who's telling the truth, I'm sorry, I believe facts and evidence. Joycelyn Savage went on national television and basically parroted what Azriel Clary was saying. If you watch the interview very carefully, she is just agreeing with Azriel Clary. And then when Gayle King says that R. Kelly was in the room while this was all going on, you have to think very hard. Who is painting this narrative? All the women in the Surviving R. Kelly documentary told you how he was. His ex-wife told you how he was. His daughter told you how he was. His music teacher told you how he was. So when we say we don't know who to believe, I'm sorry. I believe facts and evidence.
All right.
That's
When
Attorney Gerald Griggs.
Says that she was subject to abuse, I believe Geronda Pace. So I think that this will all play out in the courtroom, and in 6 to 8 months, when he's going to prison, you'll know the truth.
Well, I know you're a great attorney. I know you will. Attorney Gerald Griggs, who is representing the parents of Joycelyn Savage.
Thank you.
Thanks, you, baby.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.